All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's get started with the quantum communications and sensing track. I would like to.
Mostly education. So we're going to be talking education. I know it says sensing, and actually it gets worse because it says 10 minutes, but they just told me I have to give you 20 minutes worth of. So I'm going to ask you guys to ask a lot of questions.
So I'll leave the stage to you, Steve
Thank you.
Suarez, who's the founder and CEO of HorizonX Consulting, and we shall be talking about quantum education.
Thank you.
The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We just flew in from Dubai, and it's been about 32 hours I haven't slept, and I was looking forward to come here to Paris. I love Paris. How many people speak French? Ah, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui parlent français. Nous avons fait les réunions tout en français. Ça va? Ça marche? Oh non? Il a dit que non. Il a dit que non. Il a dit que non et maintenant je le veux faire en anglais. Mais plus tard, je le fais en français. I lived here with HSBC for 5 years. So we're going to be talking about quantum education. So I'm the global head. I'm not the global head. That's my past role. I am the CEO of HorizonX. I've got a couple of positions. I'm also a co-founder of the Quantum Index, which we'll talk here in just a second. Cecile.
Hi, I am Cierra Choucair. I am the Director of Strategic Content at Resonance, which is also a co-founder of the Quantum Innovation Index. You may know us better by the name The Quantum Insider. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. And so she's joining me. We're going to be talking, but be nice to her because actually right after this, she's pitching for her own company to get some funding. So if you guys are in the crowd, let's help her out and get some funding. Listen, I find education to be very important. And I think quantum is one of those areas where we need a lot of education. The type of education I'm giving and I'm working with is not for physicists. So if you're a physicist in the room, please don't expect this to be anything technical. This is really to get the business people up to date on what quantum is and how we can work quantum. So I've got a question because it's late in the afternoon and I didn't want us to be talking. Who knows the 3 horizons of innovation? Anybody heard of McKinsey's 3 horizons? Yes? Yeah. You're saying yes. You're reading. All right. So Horizon 1 is incremental innovation. That's innovation that we all know well, right? It's the 3%, 5% that you make better. And what we propose is that people should continue to do that. Actually, a big majority of your portfolio should be that Horizon 1. Horizon 2 innovation is innovation that exists in the world. So it's not new, but you bring it into your organization. So you might not be using AI today. I hope you are, but if you're not, you might not be using distributed ledger technology or other technologies. These are technologies that have been created, but that you bring into the organization. That's Horizon 2. This is a little bit more riskier and it's longer term. And then there's Horizon 3 innovation, which is the disruptive innovation. This is the innovation that takes 5 years, very risky, and it's new to world innovation. And so the reason we call ourselves HorizonX is that we'd like to work in all 3 of those horizons of innovation. So I'm going to start off, why did we do this around education and why are we focusing on the business and on the board? A lot of companies, and you'll notice, and I give them this feedback, everybody wants to focus on selling a POC. What happens when you sell a POC? You sell it to someone in middle management or lower level management. Now, let's just say that POC is incredibly successful. What do they have to do now to get funding or to get the support they need? They have to swim upstream, right? And they actually now have to convince the C-level and they have to convince the board to say, hey, I just did this POC on quantum computing. And the board saying, what the hell is quantum computing? What are you doing? And so part of it is you're starting off at the wrong position. You're starting off trying to sell something here when you should really be selling it here. And so what I try to do is educate the board about what is quantum and what isn't quantum. So what happens? Once you educate them here, you become a trusted partner. They start understanding kind of this, you demystify quantum for them, and they start understanding, hey, here are the potentials. Here's the things that I can do with quantum, right? Here are the opportunities. And this is also gets their attention, here are the threats of what quantum can also bring and what you need to do. Because I work a lot with financial institutions, they really pay attention when I tell them about threats and threats to cryptography and all of that stuff. So once you gather kind of the trust at that C level, then you work, with the board, then you work with the C level to help them develop a strategy. And so you're not just putting quantum in the company, you're actually tying quantum to their strategy, right? And then once you do that, then now you got the board's attention, you got the C-level's attention. Then you could start doing POCs. And you could start trying to see how do you work POCs and how does that go within the organization. This way is a lot more successful than trying to do it the other way, which takes a lot of work, a lot of failure, a lot of frustration. You might have the best POC, but if you can't sell it to the senior management, it can't work. Now, the ultimate goal is here, because once you have a POC that works, you want something that you can scale, right? You've proven that you've created an algorithm, you're working with hardware, and you want to create it. And I have a bit of news for you, and I don't know if you don't follow me on LinkedIn. The only thing I would say is tonight at midnight, actually 12:01, because I've got an embargo. I'm going to put out some industry news that is going to fascinate all you guys from a quantum computing perspective. A big bank, a big hardware company, something that's done that hasn't been done before. So I'm very excited about sharing that news tonight. Actually, you know what? I promised I wanted to have people ask questions. So does anybody have any questions, any thoughts? Does anybody disagree? Actually, part of innovation is people not agreeing. Yes. Can we get a microphone up there?
Thanks, Steve. I like the approach, business and strategic driven instead of, bottom up, starting from, the technicalities. The question, when you look at the financial institutions, we know, and that's relevant for all industries, cyber is probably the key priority, right?
Yeah.
But what are the other priorities today, or what is already industrialized, not today, not in the lab, but industrialized as quantum applications in financial institutions? And maybe the news at the 10:01 will be a bit of info or insights about it. But what else do we have today, concretely, beyond cyber?
Well, you took cyber out of that, but I want to throw cyber back in. You're right. I think when I talk about PQC, when I talk about, I don't know if you guys know, there's regulations already out there saying that companies have to be PQC enabled. I was with the head of Homeland Security in New Mexico about 3 weeks ago, and they're putting dates on when companies have to be PQC enabled. And if you want to sell to the government, and I'm just talking about the US government, you have to be certified that you're PQC enabled. And if you want to sell to them who sells to the government, they have to be PQC enabled. And I think that's a very important point, because I think there's a big opportunity for people in the room. I actually use that to bring in the conversation on quantum. So that's kind of my carrot. Even though PQC, even though it has the word quantum in there, and it isn't quantum because everybody knows they're classical algorithms, I use that to kind of get the attention so that we can talk about that. But the one thing I talk about in quantum, and this is, I use an analogy. Quantum computing is like a marathon. You don't show up the day of the marathon to start running without doing all the training and everything like that. And so part of it is you have to train people. People need to understand what it is, what it isn't. You actually have to get some of these partnerships with some of the hardware companies, because I think, unlike AI, quantum will not be available to everybody once this happens. And so the people who have those strategic relationships, I think will have an incredible advantage because they have access to the hardware. They have people that have already been trained. They're already writing algorithms. And these are the companies that I think, and actually I'll talk about that in the next couple of slides when we get into the quantum index, if you haven't heard about the quantum index. Actually, just a show of hands, have anybody in this room heard about the quantum index? All right, 3 people, 4 people. Okay, we're going to educate you guys here on the quantum index here. So what I try to do is I'm really focused on board education. So I'm on top of HorizonX, I'm also a senior advisor at McKinsey, and I go if they ask me to go or if my company asks me to go, and I advise boards because I think that, to be honest with you, I think that's what's going to open the door to resources, to money, to help push this industry forward. We need people out there creating stuff and doing stuff, and that's why I'm a big proponent of the quantum education for that level of people. So it's that the executive people. I'm doing it with Will Oliver. Yes, the question. Yeah, yes, please. Please, please. Questions are good.
Hey, very interesting. But I have a question. This right now in relation to quantum computing, we can have hardware with photons, or quantum computers based on electron spin, or quantum computers based on ion traps, or so. And there is no winning technology yet.
That's right.
And we expect that in 10 years we will start massive computing. So there is a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
This is the key point that that really concerns to the CEO and to the boards. This is my case in particular, is the uncertainty.
Yeah.
How do you manage that with the boards?
Well, that's a great question. I feel like I planted that question because in our class, we talk about the different modalities, right? There's a misconception that a quantum computer is this computer and somebody's got it on their desk and one day I'll have a laptop. And so we actually educate people and talk to them about what superconducting is, how superconducting works at a high level. These are executives, right? They don't have the time to go through this. We talk to them about trapped ions, about neutral, all of them. So the good news is we actually have the heads of those companies, the CEOs, or some people that work in those companies. They're talking about their own technology on there. So we have IBM talking, we got Google talking, we've got Quantinuum, all the different companies talking about their technology so that we can help educate them and let them know that there isn't a winning technology, but at least they know, right? And so in this class, I talk about this concept of quantum visioning and quantum vigilance. Quantum vigilance is looking at the outside market. You don't have control of the outside market. You don't know, the hardware companies, how well they're doing in error correction or how well things are getting better. You're just watching it. So you're watching how it's going and you're understanding, is this really making a difference or not? Visioning is the stuff you're doing. So what algorithms are you doing? What training are you doing? That's the stuff you do have control. And that's the stuff where I tell people that you can get involved in that. And when those two intersect is kind of where the opportunity is. That's why I'm really excited. And I wish this presentation was tomorrow because I can tell you guys there's going to be some really exciting news to kind of share with you guys. This is the last slide on the education stuff. So if you have stuff on the education, please ask it right after this. And then we're going to get into the quantum index because the majority of people here have never heard of the quantum index. The cool thing about this, so you've got the strategy course. This is a 10-hour course. You have 6 weeks to do it. You get a certificate from MIT saying that you've gone through the course. Obviously, I would tell you it's a really good course, but I've heard feedback from others that have already completed the course. And then if you want to get more technical, there's an introduction where you do get into the maths, and actually it gets into the maths pretty quickly. These are four-week courses. It's about 4 to 6 hours a week. And then we have 4 of those courses, right? So we have the introduction, we have cybersecurity, chemistry, communication, so we get into the PQC, QKD type stuff, and then the large-scale universe computation. So this is kind of a bundle. So we've created a bundle of people that really want to dive in. Now, I'll give you a hint. When I got into this industry, I took these courses. I took all these courses minus this one. This one didn't exist. And these courses gave me the confidence to get involved in this industry and really open my eyes on what was possible. Now, when I was at the bank, so I was at HSBC, I gave these courses away to the CEOs. So we had, let's say, we had 64 countries, and then we had CEOs in different divisions. How many CEOs do you think? And I gave them free. So these courses are about 1,500 a piece. They could get a certificate from MIT. How many CEOs took me up on that offer? One. Two. All right, zero. Zero. I was giving them free access to one of the best universities in the world talking about quantum computing, and they didn't take advantage of it. You know why? Because they said, look, I don't have 4 weeks or 6 hours a week to do this course. So I deliberately created a course that I thought the industry needed, which is a course that it's 10 hours, self-paced, 6 weeks. If you need more time, I didn't tell you this in this meeting, but if you need more time, email me, I'll give you more time. But and you don't even have to do, the whole 10 hours. There's a lot of stuff that if you want to dive deeper and learn more, you can. But this is meant to be a very easy, understandable course for executives that get through. They won't do the rest of this, but if you want to dive in deep, you can look at diving in deep in those. So that's the education piece. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the quantum index question.
Is that only for executives or is it for people that work in government?
Yeah, executives, people that work in government. I was trying to put government in there, but MIT has certain policies and I have to follow their policies. But yes, government, senior leaders. And I wanted to actually call the course Executives and Government Leaders, but the university thought I was cutting too many people out. I know when I wasn't an executive, I always looked up to executives. So if there was a course for executives, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm going to take that course. It was a way to get people to do it. Yes.
So you've developed this course given that you had this experience in your bank that none of the executives took
That's it.
the courses.
Well,
Did you try it with this one and what was your reaction?
well, I created this one.
Yes, and so did you, as you created this one, did you get reactions from
Oh yeah, no. So I'm already on the 2 cohorts, and I've got a lot of people that have either in there now. So I have a couple senior government leaders in the UAE going through this. Very senior people. I can't say who. Going through this, and I'm getting really good feedback on this. And so, yeah. The funny thing is, I took these other courses, and when I was at the bank, I created a strategy, and that strategy was audited by MIT. They liked the strategy that I created so much from what I learned from these other courses that they asked me to come back and teach this course. So I went from being a student to now teaching the stuff that we implemented at the bank. And I credit it because I was able to do all of this other education. And so that took me from a person that knew very little about quantum to now be dangerous enough and a little bit more, but dangerous enough to understand quantum. Are we okay on time? Okay, because we still have to, we can go through the other stuff. Did we have 20 minutes? That was 20 minutes already? Wow, that was quick. I was worried about, okay, so we do,
Your discount.
I need 2 minutes.
Your discount. Your discount.
Oh, yes. So there's a HorizonX, the name of my company, all in caps. If you go to the website, actually here, let me go the other way. If you go to this here, or you know what, you can talk to me afterwards, or you can just follow me on LinkedIn. You can find it. It's a 15% discount. Sometimes they let me bump it up to 17%. If you have a big group, if you have more than 25 people that want to do it, I can even give you a better discount. But let me know after this, and I can definitely, and I know I'm eating into the time. So,
Yeah. It's about 2 minutes. Is that okay?
2 minutes.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty, so the Quantum Insider. Most of you may know us for news. We do cover news across quantum technology, #1 news and media outlet in quantum, but we also track a lot of data. We track all data parameters related to building the quantum economy. And so in our most recent market sizing report, which is available on our platform, we found that by the year 2035, quantum stands to capture or create almost 1 trillion in value, in economic value. Now, most of that value will be captured by end users, not the hardware providers. So that being said, we wanted to understand more about how do you quantify quantum readiness? How do you quantify quantum adoption? And so from that, Resonance and Steve at HorizonX co-founded the Quantum Innovation Index. And so the Quantum Index, which you can go the Quantum Index on your phone right now if you're interested in seeing some of the stats. The Quantum Index looks across 3 different pillars to benchmark quantum companies under certain domains. So right now we've identified 15 companies for each automotive, life sciences, and financial. And these are companies that are actively driving the adoption of quantum technology within their enterprise. And so the 3 pillars that we looked at, sorry, I didn't look at the slides.
No, that's all right.
Awesome. So quickly, the 3 pillars that we look at to determine how do we rate these companies are related to 1, workforce. So how many quantum scientists do they have on their team? How active are they in hiring a workforce to support development? We look at research and development, of course. So we look at multiple databases for patents as well as research publications. And then we also look at quantum adoption. So are they collaborating? Are they partnering with other people within the quantum ecosystem?
Yeah, and the size of their team. And it's not only research, is how many times their research has been cited. Mm-hmm. The higher it gets cited, the more points that they get. And so we have, JP Morgan, Volkswagen, a lot of companies actually reposting our stuff saying, see, I thought, I was with MasterCard just yesterday in Dubai. I thought they were going to get upset because we put them in 9th place. They put out to their 2,000 followers on LinkedIn, hey, surprise, we made the top 10. And so that was actually a really good thing. This is a really good resource. I have companies now in Abu Dhabi that are telling me that they're looking at who are the top ranking in automotive, life sciences, and in banking. And they're actually thinking about investing in those funds because they think these are the forward-looking companies that are going to be ready for the future. So take a look at them. And
coming out soon, we will release our Energy Quantum Index. So please do be sure to keep an eye on the website when we announce the next 15 companies driving adoption in energy.
Thank you very much.